Overthink With Us. Episode 1. The Perfect Image.
Hey guys, welcome to Overthink With Us by the Interact Club of TISKL.
We wanted to create this in conjunction with our International Understanding Day event. More info about that will be posted very soon, so keep your eyes peeled.
You can find all the info on our Instagram at interact_TISKL.
We're hosting this podcast for teenagers to have a platform to talk about beauty standards, which is the main theme of our event.
A lot of people, specifically teens, are affected by the unrealistic expectations of society. Barely anyone talks about it and how it affects us.
So we wanted to create a place where we could talk openly about these issues.
Today, we'll be talking about some of those beauty standards and try to figure out where they come from and how they affect us. I'm your host, Ernita, and I'm joined by my co-host,
Sophia?
Andre?
And Alyssa.
On today's episode, The Perfect Image, we'll be talking about some of the debatable aspects of beauty standards, like how different people perceive different standards, like it means different things to different people from different cultures and different nations. But I think one of the things that is very prominent everywhere throughout the world is the difference in male versus female body standard and how we perceive it. I feel like we talk a lot about how beauty standards such as being skinny and clear skin affect women and how it affects their mental health and body. But when it comes to men, we kind of don't have that conversation that often. It's ignored. But I know that it affects a lot of men as well. So I think one of the first things that I wanted to talk about on the podcast was the male versus female disparity.
The reason why that we don't really talk about male body standards is from the fact of the male mindset and how we're supposed to be manly and hold it in.
Yeah.
Not to talk about it, and that talking about it shows your weakness. And it's always that they try to find ways to laugh it off. If let's say I'm talking to my friend and we're having a normal conversation, and there's always we always bring it up and almost jokingly, almost body shame the other person.
Yeah.
But because of society nowadays, that's
Just laugh
considered
it off.
normal, and
Yeah.
you're supposed to, you feel like you have to laugh it off, even though it shouldn't be like this, and that even men have these have issues with their bodies and self-esteem.
Yeah, definitely.
I feel like it's so expected for guys to be fit, not necessarily buff, but definitely fit. And you can't be fat. And if you're fat, then that's a joke that you're constantly bullied,
Yeah.
especially if you're a teenager in school. We see it every day, right?
Really
Yeah.
bad,
If you're not fit, you're gonna get bullied, even if it's your friends and they're joking.
I've seen
Yeah.
tons of guys that have rapidly lost weight,
Oh.
over winter break, and they come back into school the next year, concerningly a bit,
Exactly.
they've definitely lost weight. And while if they do it for themselves, that's definitely something good. But
Yeah, and
A
it's
drastic change in weight.
yeah, it's really
Usually
drastic.
bad.
And
Right?
it's-
Sorry, Sophia.
And it's so bad because these expectations are so pushed upon guys. They need to be fit and they need to be super muscular, and that V body. But
Yeah.
sometimes they go to
The reverse
extreme
burrito
measures.
body.
Yeah, have you seen
this.
have you seen those
The
videos?
reverse burrito body, where it's you have to have really broad shoulders.
You've seen those videos
they-
online where these kids, these teenagers, they're lifting multiple times their body weight, and it's it doesn't,
Yeah.
Which
look
is
healthy.
harmful for their growth, especially for
Harmful,
kids.
especially if you're really young. Yeah, because it might
Yeah.
stunt your growth.
Yeah. And I feel like movies have a lot to do as well with this expectation because
Definitely.
30-year-olds are playing 16-year-olds in movie like in Riverdale
Exactly.
and
Like,
Teen Wolf.
That's how the younger generation perceives teens.
Exactly.
Oh, is that how I'm supposed to look like? But it's in reality, it's no, that's a 30-year-old man. Like
It's like
Yeah.
conditioning your mind for
Like
the
so
unrealistic
Netflix, every single
standards.
TV show, it's like based around the high school life, but the cast is like 30, 40-year-olds. Like they've had a lot of time to build their body. And it kind of sets the expectations for like 12-year-olds watching the show that that's how you're supposed to look.
Really unrealistic. Yeah.
Mm.
Agreed.
And then
Yeah.
it's always even the like the nerds, like they're casted as they're supposed to be
Yeah.
underdogs, supposed to be the like not the unpopular kid in school, and then this is super ripped guys that like just so unrealistic. And if people start to think if that's what the nerd's supposed to look like what's the normal person? What am I
Yeah,
supposed
no
to look like?
one's ugly.
Yeah,
Everyone
exactly.
is hot.
Distort
Everyone's
everybody's perception
Yeah.
yeah.
of like, what high school is, what you're supposed to look
And
like.
it definitely like harms your mindset and your self-esteem growing up because you're like, I'm not like that. I'm not
Some
what a
people
man is
realize
supposed
it.
to look
I
like.
think they don't realize it until like much later because it's so ingrained in their brain.
Yeah.
Like,
That's the
ingrained.
danger of it.
Because like I realize that men beauty standards, like the body standards for guys, it's been constant since like forever,
Yeah.
Like women's body standards, they change every
Forever changing.
so
actually.
often. So obviously this standard is like deeply ingrained to all of our minds because it's
I
been
think,
like around
Andre
for forever.
like toxic masculinity plays a very, very big role when it comes
Yeah.
to how men perceive their bodies. Like when for IU we had to write the script and we wanted to have both a male and a female perspective. And when we were writing the male perspective, one of the things that we found was that if you look into it, especially for teenagers, when you look into why they're insecure and how their insecurity came to be, it's usually because society has nurtured them to be this person. Like you're a man, you're supposed to be able to at least like carry heavy things or play a sport, which is kind of something that's not pushed upon women. Toxic masculinity definitely builds the base for
Yeah.
an unhealthy like mindset towards your body.
Yeah, like if you want to lift weights at this age or you want to work out and play a sport, that's fine, but you shouldn't be expected to, and you shouldn't be expected to be ripped like a 30-year-old,
Yeah.
But then with girls, like you can talk to your friends, and your friends like you can talk to them, they're going through the same things. You can like have these like girl talk and like these
Yeah.
they just the support system.
Yeah.
They always help you out.
That's definitely lacking for men.
Yeah, with
guys.
with Ben it's definitely lacking. It's hard to talk about these issues like your body, hard like you just can't.
Yeah, because they just think
Yeah.
that you're too soft or something, right?
Yeah.
too soft.
That's such a pity because I'm pretty sure every single one, like everyone goes through that stage, right? Like women go through that stage and men do as well. And it's a bad thing. It's a crappy thing that you don't get to have a support system. But that being said, like we're not erasing how the harm it does to women's mental health and their eating habits, because like Sophia said a few minutes ago, it's ever changing. The body standard is never the same.
It's crazy.
Like, over the past 10 years even, we've seen a great difference, right? You go from that 2000s like skinny, low-waist jeans body to like Kylie Jenner, hourglass, like thick thighs, but like skinny waist, And I feel like now in the era of TikTok, we're going back to that like 90s body standard.
That was Y2K-ish.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I have a feeling it just rotates every decade.
Yeah.
So like you have to change how you want your body to be because you want it to fit into that box, right? It's fine.
And it's always like
I feel like, especially like, okay, because I brought up TikTok era, right? TikTok. It's like
TikTok is so harmful.
The scope of TikTok, it's so widespread. Like it can either be you're part of that like very accepting environment. It depends where your For You page takes you, right? Or you can end up in a very toxic environment of like skinny people going like, I'm too fat. And like,
Yeah.
But I think something that's very common, like regardless of the content and the video you watch, is the comments. Like if someone is, if you're a skinny person, like I'm not even skinny, right? Like if you're fit, if you don't physically look like you're overweight or something, the comments will be filled like, I'm not going to eat today. Or like
and it's so normalized.
It's so normalized.
It's really bad, especially like since these kids are like, no, they're kids. Like, as someone who has a bit of a following, I see like a bit. But as I go through stuff on my For You page, I see like, these girls who are, skinny by genetics. They're genetically skinny. They're born
Yeah.
like that, and they can't help looking like that, right? And I see the comments, and some of the comments are going like, "Oh, my parents had one job. Why can't I look like this? You are making me incredibly insecure."
Yeah.
Basically, projecting their insecurities onto the poor person, the creator of the video, which is kind of harmful because, one, obviously they are not responsible for anybody's triggers.
Yeah.
Because that's how they look. What are they gonna do if that's how they're born? And I feel like because of that, when kids see that, especially because like kids are commenting that, but if other kids see that, they're like, oh, is this how I'm supposed to look like? Or people are like kind of idolizing this kind of body. I think I should look like that too. Because there are also a lot of like accounts on TikTok that are dedicated to like losing weight, like a journey of losing weight, in healthy ways, and they document it, and there are like tons of followers following these kind of pages, which is kind of concerning, really, really concerning.
Yeah.
And then there's like TikTok is super fat phobic because like I've seen
Oh,
videos
yeah,
of just these
fatphobic.
like
Really bad.
these regular TikToks, like not even related to anything. And then there's these kids like they're duetting it, and then they're like saying these like really offensive jokes about
Kids
how
are
like
so harmful now. I mean, like they're so rude nowadays.
they're
because,
so rude. And then they always get like I see them getting 2 million likes. All the comments are like, "Oh my god, this kid is like carrying TikTok." And I'm like, it's you're not
Just
supposed
rude,
to be
yeah.
promoting.
why do you feel the need to comment on somebody else's body?
And I feel like
behavior
TikTok
like that is very
itself,
normalized. Yeah.
TikTok itself is really toxic.
No, like TikTok itself has brought up so many different insecurities. Like like the inverted face challenge, and then looking at your side, and then like looking at your side profile, and then looking at your like back profile even. Like it's
every
obsession is
like
crazy.
there's a new like trend to like somehow make people feel insecure. Like you don't need like a perfectly symmetrical face to be pretty. You don't need
exactly.
things. You don't need a side profile or whatever,
And it really brings up so much like insecurity and low self-esteem amongst people. And even some of the beauty standards like hip dips are something that you can't even change. That's literally your bone structure.
Yeah, something really interesting about hip dips. Like when we were figuring out what to talk about on the podcast, right? One of the first things that came to my mind was hip dips. Because like, because I've had a hip dip since I was like, 11 or 12. And you don't realize that that's something that's undesirable per se. Yeah. Till you're on social media. So I was like, okay, like I didn't really I didn't care, So you're on social media, and then everyone's like obsessed with getting rid of hip dips, or like how to like you start working out, and if you go onto that place of like YouTube where it's just workout videos, they'll constantly tell you like, oh, how to get rid of hip dips or how to get like perfect abs in like a week. It's just so unhealthy.
And like the whole flat stomach thing as well, for like the Y2K aesthetic where you're supposed to have a flat stomach, and it's honestly a bit unrealistic. Like obviously if you have the genes of a flat stomach, you have like a flat stomach, but most honestly, women that
you have
small
organs,
pouch is because you have a uterus, and I didn't even know this till like so recently, which is so harmful because I don't know, it's just not talked about that your uterus is literally like sticks your stomach out a bit.
You have to have a bump, like
literally your organs, exactly. Because like people who pose like with those like low waist jeans and stuff, like it's definitely the angle. They definitely don't look like that, or if they do, it's definitely not completely flat.
It's like, definitely not completely flat.
Social media,
the angles and stuff, and
you don't know what you're looking at if that's actually what they look like. Angles, editing, everything. Like I feel like social media, especially for kids nowadays, right? It definitely changes how we see ourselves. But social media is basically a lie. You never know what you're looking at. Everything is edited. Everything has a filter.
Yeah. Everything is always the highlights and all the good parts. You don't really know the behind the scenes of what
you
took to get that picture.
You put the best part of yourself on the internet. Why would you
it's not a true reflection of who the person is or how they look like or anything.
Yeah. But I think the main difference here is that when it comes to women, we at least talk about it. Like there are influencers who will actually go out and talk about it, like on TikTok and Instagram, who will talk about like you shouldn't be doing this to yourself. Like I've been through this stage, like I'm a grown up, and I know what, like you shouldn't be allowing yourself to fall prey to these kind of things. But that's just not there for men. You have yet to see a male influencer go and say that, right? I think that's the main difference here.
Normally,
and
the
even
celebrities, they always post their workout photos, like, oh, just got the new gains and stuff. And whenever, as a guy, I look at that, I'm like, I always feel like I should drop whatever I'm doing and some weight. And I always like want to meet the standard that is set by society. It's never going to be enough. That's the problem. It's never going to be enough.
That's true. It'll never be enough. Regardless if you're a boy or a girl, it'll change a little bit. Yeah, but it will still change. I've seen
like these really fit guys already like have the bod that I want, and then they still still trying to find nitpick things about themselves. They feel it proves that even if you get the body that you want, you're still gonna find things about yourself. So
there's no perfect body. Yeah,
there's no perfect body. It's useless to try to find it. Useless.
Because once you get to what was supposed to be your ideal body, you'll find something else that you want.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Which is why like self-acceptance and like self-love is so important, because if without that, you're just gonna keep on, chasing for more, and that's just gonna leave you in like an endless cycle.
It's really harmful.
You have to like learn to accept that like this is what your like my body looks like, and it's fine, and I don't have to look like someone else, and I don't have to be like the person I saw on my like Instagram Explore, that's who they are. And if that makes them happy, like working out that much, and like having such a restricted diet, if that's what makes them happy, that's what makes them happy. You have to look inward and see what makes you happy and decide if you want to
really
continue.
have to remember that everyone's bodies are different, and all our genes are different. Even if we follow like the same meal plan, the same workout, our bodies will still end up different.
I feel like that was just a topic that we all felt passionately about, so we wanted to discuss. On our Instagram, we sent out a Google form, a couple questions that they wanted us to talk about. We got a few questions and that we felt were very interesting and we actually want to discuss. One of the questions that I personally really liked was, does Instagram distort our vision of body and beauty standards, and how? I think we definitely went into that just now.
Definitely.
There's definitely more to discuss here.
Now, it doesn't show reality. It's basically a almost perfect world where you choose what you can show, and like you can Facetune or you can edit, and you can just make yourself the most perfect that you can.
And that's not really a bad thing within itself, like Facetune and like plastic surgery and making yourself look better. But I think it's more of the lack of transparency of it. If because if you don't admit to plastic surgery, and if you don't admit to yourself photoshopping your pictures, like the audience will think that that's you in your natural state, and then they'll try to achieve that because they think it's achievable when really it's not. It's like artificial. So it's a really, really false expectation for a lot of people, especially like the vulnerable people on social media.
I feel like if you want to do that for yourself, like you want to feel good, so like if you don't like your nose, you want to get a nose job, and that's fine. But I don't see the reason why people hide it. Lisa, did you want to say something?
They go out of their way to hide it and be this is natural. Like when it so clearly isn't. I feel like that shouldn't be the
That's
case.
the problem. I feel like. Because it's fine if you get plastic surgery, right? Like no one's gonna shame you for it. But saying that you naturally have that perfect, like every single ideal feature is just puts other people down, Maybe not adults, but definitely for kids.
Yeah.
And what you said just now, that you don't think the would get shamed. There are people out there actually who would shame, and that's the problem, right? Is that it's like there's a lack of transparency, which is a problem, but also society doesn't let you be transparent. Because if you reveal yourself as like you have plastic surgery, then like everyone's gonna be like, oh, you're not natural, you're fake, and like
which is so weird because
exactly.
You're expected to be that pretty naturally, but then when someone comes out about the fact that this is how they look like, but it is not natural, people are like, oh, why? So
Yeah,
and
you
then-
can literally never win.
There is
Yeah.
no winning.
There's no
Never.
winning on social media, which is more reason why you should never follow those trends.
Yeah.
Because no one's ever going to be happy with what you do. Like, if you're not naturally pretty, you'll get made fun of and you'll become a meme or something. But
Yeah,
if you
but
get
if you-
plastic surgery, nonetheless, they're going to find old pictures of you and still make you into a meme.
There's
No?
no way you can win with what you do at all.
Which just like further emphasizes the importance of just accepting your body and your looks, because you're never going to win with society
It's
either
definitely
way.
is a journey. It definitely is.
Yeah,
A journey.
It definitely
that's
is. It's
definitely not an
easy
easy
thing.
task.
Yeah.
Like
Not an
loving
easy-
yourself and loving your body.
No.
Because to answer the question, obviously social media definitely distorts your
Definitely.
vision of your body and like beauty itself. And that struggle of getting to like self-acceptance and self-love to the point where that doesn't bother you anymore is definitely an uphill battle. So
Yeah.
hard. And sadly, a lot of people don't make that journey, right? That's the
Yeah.
sad part. Yeah. But to get straight to the point for the question, right? Yeah. In social media, awful for your like
awful.
Just-
Yeah.
And
Like if
spending
you
8
can't
hours
handle
on
that,
Instagram.
just delete social media, honestly, because
Yeah.
it'll just mess with your head even more.
sometimes you just have to quit to like take a break.
Just
you know?
have to have a bit of a cleanse, you know,
feel like that's
get away from it.
like something adults say, and like teenagers are like, oh my god, it's such a like stupid thing to say because we're so reliant on social
Like,
media.
you have a point. You have a point.
They really do.
Yeah.
I've taken so many social media cleanses, and it's definitely helped a lot.
Same, but you
I
always
need
like
the strength to be able to
Yeah.
do that. I can't. Like, it's
That
really
you do.
hard for me.
Because we
honestly.
become like our generation, especially, right? Like people who are like 16 or 17 now, we've been on social media since we were like what, 10, 11, younger.
Crazy amount of time.
Yeah.
I remember following Sophia on Instagram. At, like, yeah.
You're
I mean,
like
I'll
3
take
or
it.
something.
And when I
Yeah.
made an Instagram, I was always asking people, whoever, whenever I met them, could you follow me? Could you follow me?
We've been on it for some time. We've been on it for some time.
We've
you
been
know?
on it for
Yeah.
so long, but like
Yeah.
we can't imagine life without it.
So we've become, especially like us, right? We're so reliant on it
Very
that
dependent on
taking a
it, yeah.
break is like a ridiculous idea, and it's hard. You know, you become addicted to it.
Yeah.
That's like, I feel like I sound like a mom giving a lecture to their kids, but it's true.
But
You
it's
know,
true. I
social
think a
media
lot
It
of
is true. It is true.
Yeah. It's definitely something that like has affected like majority of kids that have been online since like very
Yeah.
young age.
Yeah, social media, the outbreak of social media, since the outbreak of social media, there's been a huge increase in depression, social anxiety, and like all these stuff.
Yeah.
And then it's like it stems from social media. Social media, despite
Mhm.
being so addictive, it catches you in a cycle. Like you can't stop, but by continuing social media, you get these unhealthy standards for yourself, and you start to think worse and worse and worse about yourself. Get more angry.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's not all
Thanks,
bad, is not what we're saying, but definitely the impact it has, the negatives sometimes really do outweigh the positives. And you have to know, like, you have to know yourself well enough to know when you need to get away.
Yeah.
you
And if
can-
you really can't, stay away from social media, just unfollow the people that make you really insecure. I think that helps a lot to cleanse your feed in general.
That, yes. You know, on TikTok, like we just said, the comments are awful.
Awful.
Don't go commenting on someone else's post because they're making you feel bad about yourself. Just unfollow them. They're living their best life. Let them do it. Doesn't
Yeah.
matter. Like it's very easy to select what you see on your Instagram feed. Maybe not your explore or your For You page, but your following and what comes up on your feed on Instagram. It's really easy to control. So do yourself a favor, and if looking at someone is constantly making you question yourself, just unfollow them.
Yeah.
Yeah, like me, I used to have this Instagram full of these ripped guys, and I was like, one day I had enough. So now my Instagram is mostly memes and basketball.
Yeah. See, put your interest on social media, like your
interest,
favorite show,
whatever.
your favorite game, like
Mm.
make that your
Yep.
social media more fun that way as well. Yeah. The next question is quite possibly my favorite question that we've gotten. Is pretty privilege real? Oh, I have so much to say. Guys, what do you
It
100%.
think?
definitely is. To answer it, like, you know, it definitely is
Bluntly.
real.
Yeah,
Yeah, bluntly.
I think so.
Very
everyone
much
agree?
is though. It very much is.
Yeah, it definitely is real. To like answer it bluntly.
Because if you
Andre?
compare like things that pretty girls do, like they make fun of boys and like the
Well,
boys are
not pretty
like
girls.
just
It's pretty like pretty people in general.
pretty people in general, yeah. They always like, and then the people brush it off as like, oh, he's pretty, he's allowed to do that. But then if another person, regular person does
Especially if
it,
they're
they're
problematic.
gonna get
And
they're
they
gonna
get
get blasted.
away with stuff they do because they're pretty. It's a bit, weird. Because yeah.
Pretty
What?
people,
Yeah,
they
I think
just-
especially like proof lies with TikTok.
Oh,
TikTokers.
yes.
That pretty privilege is so
They do the bare
fact of
minimum.
TikTok is like going viral for like your face,
yeah.
Like
it doesn't.
the Hype House has an Instagram like Netflix show or something. For what?
Because of
All they do
how-
is like dance, not that greatly in front of a camera, and it's just because most people think they're hot, they get away with it.
Exactly.
Like TikTokers, most of them is literally just evidence of privilege.
Their whole
They're-
careers are
I feel like I'm
based
gonna
on
take
their
like a
looks.
bullet here because I do have a TikTok account and I do post myself dancing.
No, it's not
Red
like
light,
you dance
It's not
like
hard-
a
not
lot,
hard.
right?
It's-
But
Sorry?
like, no, you dance like that's something you do as like an extracurricular, right? But I'm talking about like I don't know if you haven't been on TikTok in a long time, but like say
Addison
like
Rae.
Addison Rae, Bryce Hall. What is their like what is their platform based on? Like
Bryce
what,
Hall
what-
literally just
He's
shakes
been
his
like he's been like
privates.
scandals.
Yeah.
He's been in
Yeah,
scandals.
and they have been in a
Okay.
lot of scandals, like
And
especially
they're still,
during
they're
COVID.
Still,
They're
They're
still
still,
going
yeah, they're
strong.
accepted
They've got
because
Netflix shows
they're
coming.
pretty.
still have a platform. They still have a platform. They have
Have you
fans.
seen Addison's new music video? Oh my god.
No.
I like her
She makes
song.
music. Oh God.
Yeah, no.
It's
Oh my god.
so
You
bad.
remember
Don't,
how we
don't,
talk
don't,
about
don't,
how
don't.
some of these TikTokers go on to actually have like music careers that are based
Yeah.
off like because they're pretty, and then they're suddenly
Yeah.
offered like a music, like a label, like like a
Mm.
job or whatever because like they're pretty.
Yeah. Like they get to go to all these like
I'm not gonna
different.
say like none of them are. Some of them are,
Mhm.
but like
Some
some
of
of
them
them aren't, and they're just given jobs because they're pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they get like super great opportunities, like going to exclusive events and stuff, and getting like sponsorships from really big companies just because they're
Like,
Mhm.
pretty.
influencers. That's like influencers here that we have also in Malaysia, right? Like we also have people like that.
Yeah.
Here.
And if you look at
It's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. It's just it's something that we noticed,
and if you look
Yeah.
at celebrities, like 70-80% of them are like perfect face, perfect body that you can think
True.
of, and like you always
Yeah.
it creates these are people who are idolized by young people. So it creates if their idols look
Mhm.
as perfect as they can, then the young people it creates these standards that should not be there. And like
Yeah.
It's also because like we have to remember that these celebrities, they have the money and they have access to all these great resources that make them really pretty,
Mhm.
Like the
Yeah.
average person won't be able to have a cosmetic doctor or a dermatologist or like a nutritionist and like a personal coach to make them
That's
their
true.
best,
Mhm.
Yeah. Like
And that's
it
something that
can't be done by yourself, but usually majority of these celebrities have help on the side.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So-
So to answer the question, definitely real.
definitely.
Yes.
The next question is kind of do you think that beauty pageants are a good influence on young women? Don't you think that it's trying to body shame and lie because not all beauty queens are good on the inside? Don't you think that they're talking more about how thin you are or putting the standards that to be beautiful you have to look a certain way? This question is long. But
It used
But
to
to
be like
answer the
that.
first part, beauty pageants definitely not a good influence. That is pretty privileged before social media.
Yeah. And
It's
it's
like, hey,
probably
you're skinny, you're pretty, come, let us give you an award for it.
And it's worth because like the whole point of beauty pageant is to compare looks, and that's just
Such a harmful
Yeah.
practice.
And it's like, who are the judges to say that you are the prettiest of them all? Because beauty is so subjective. Like, my taste will not conform to your taste, you know?
Yeah. And it's so demeaning to like get up on a stage for people to just objectify you, and then
Yeah,
you get
That's
rejected.
the
Like
whole
what?
goal.
You lose the objectifying contest.
it's like
It's
legit,
insane.
It's honestly
Yeah.
crazy. Yeah.
And it's definitely trying to body shame. Like
Yeah.
definitely.
that's literally the whole point. Like if you don't look a certain way, you'll definitely get
See, like,
disqualified.
there are also like beauty pageants for like kids, you know, like
Oh, yeah.
Yes. From a very young age, which is just
learning. Definitely.
Yeah, and most of these beauty, the moms of these beauty
Oh yeah.
pageant
I think it's
things,
because
they
have
are super
pageant
controlling.
moms.
They
Yeah.
always
They're
Pageant moms.
toxic.
they push their insecurities onto their children.
Yeah.
Yes, and they're so controlling with like what they can do, what they can eat, what they can wear, and like, you know, it's crazy.
It really
And
is.
with
Like
beauty
it definitely leads to like future mental health issues for the kid.
And beauty pageants, it's always like not kind of racist honestly, because like it's always the blonde hair, blue eyes, white skin.
That's true.
It's
Yeah.
like it's this
Yeah.
pattern of like this is what you're supposed to look like, and then like there's a huge cultures like Chinese people, Indian, and then like there's huge cultures, and then they're just not included there.
Yeah.
You don't see that
Yeah.
when a young let's say young Chinese person sees beauty pageants, like 90% of them are white. They start thinking, oh,
And that's-
I'm not there, like I'm not being
Yeah.
represented. They start
Like the
thinking, I'm not-
standard of having like a fair skin, right, is so ingrained in our heads from like colonization, whatever time period that was. Yes, that is so ingrained in our head that it's truly like an effort to get that out of your like grandma's head. Like they'll still still in their head. Like if you're fair, you're prettier. Or if you're like fair, you have more opportunities in the world. Like especially like that's very
crazy,
prevalent
'cause
in that beauty like pageant world. Yeah.
Yeah, I've talked to my friends before, and we were like, imagine if we were born white, and like it's not something we should say, but it was like if we were white, we'd be like.
I feel like no, like
more
for me, when I was younger, I consumed a lot of Western media. I feel like a lot of people did.
Yeah.
That I wanted to be white so badly, like I wanted, because that was like the standard, especially
But
here
now-
in Malaysia. There's a lot of like
Oof, yes.
white privilege.
Like
But
some
nowadays it's
people,
more accepting, I feel like.
I
Nowadays
think
more
it's still there though, like the being fair. I mean, I guess it is more accepting, but in Malaysia, I don't see it that progressive.
Something very interesting that I kind of noticed when I moved to Malaysia was like, no, the standard that you have to be fair to be pretty is definitely like prevalent in Bangladesh, right? But when I moved to Malaysia, you can actually see the fact that, oh, that's a white person and they have like more privileges. That's kind of very obvious when it comes to Malaysia. Not in America.
Like
It's just,
there will be literally like billboards in Malaysia like promoting a whitening product, you know, and it's so normalized for Malaysian girls to like inject like some whitening. I don't know what it is, but it's just some like drip thing that makes you whiter apparently.
yeah, it's not just
Sophia, those
okay.
and then they're all over the Philippines, and they're like filled with mercury and everything. Like they legit burn your skin. That's why it
Dude,
becomes
yeah,
white.
like
And then,
Fair and Lovely is like it's like an I don't know if you guys know this. It's like an Indian whitening cream. It's
I know what
not
Fair and Lovely is, but like
and then for the white people, on the other hand, they're obsessed with
they just want to get tad.
Exactly. It's like why is like
it's because like here
white. Yeah.
Because here, if you are dark, it's kind of like it connotes that you're out in the sun and you do like labor work. But then there, if you're out in the sun, it's like you take like vacations to like exotic country. You know, it's like it's weird, but you know.
Why?
Okay, so I think that's kind of all the appropriate questions that we got because we got a lot of questions that were not relevant. but
No.
we can do like a
Power.
speed
Fusion
round of like small
reactors.
discussions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So one of the questions that we got was, is beauty related to power? Not
I think it
directly.
depends. It depends
Hmm.
on what type of power you're talking about, I think. Like definitely not like political
Yeah,
power.
no. Have you seen
I
false
think more
Identity?
beauty is related to fame, and with fame comes power. That's my
Yes.
I think that
Like,
was really well
exactly.
said.
it's not with
Andre.
power, it's with fame.
Well put, Andre.
Yeah. You get the
Yeah.
fame, with the fame comes power. So
Yeah.
like if you want to become a president, like no one really cares about your looks. I mean, unless like I'm pretty sure Barack Obama had a hard time because he was black and like everyone was like, you shouldn't be
Yes.
the president, you
Yeah.
shouldn't be the president. So unless that, then your beauty does, like your looks do matter. But generally, I don't think so.
Yeah, like in terms of real actual power with which you can change the world, I don't think so. But like we said with the pretty privilege thing, when you get a platform like on social media or like through careers in like Hollywood, say like music,
Modeling,
dancing,
especially.
yeah, modeling,
Modeling, yeah.
Modeling.
you get a lot of platforms
Modeling
and you
built on your look.
and you succeed based on your looks, and that platform gives you a lot of power. So
Yeah.
But
to a certain
way,
I don't
extent,
think
yes.
beauty is,
kind of
I don't
power.
think beauty is like 100% related to power.
Yeah, it
It
depends
definitely
on
gives you a
what
lot
kind
of
of power.
influence.
It does
Yeah.
give you. It does give you some advantage to an
Mhm.
extent. To an extent.
Yeah.
I-
Depends on
The next
how shallow the people
Never mind.
around you are.
Attractive
That's
matters.
definitely
Yeah.
being
Yes
attractive matters. The next question.
Um.
No.
Okay. I think
That's
no,
I,
but
I,
like
I
being,
hate.
Can you guys answer
I
for me? I
hate
need
to
to
be
know
that person to be like, oh no, like it doesn't matter. You know, like it. Everybody should love you for the way you are. But in our society, I feel like not because I want to say it, but I just want to be real because it definitely does.
Does,
matter.
yeah.
yeah.
It does matter.
It does.
Not in a good way. Like I feel like it shouldn't matter. I feel like it shouldn't.
Yeah.
But
It shouldn't, but it does.
But
Because it is,
yeah.
we're suddenly like we're like wired to think, oh yeah, no, this matters. You need to be attractive.
Yeah.
You know?
But it's
So-
also like you can see that question from different viewpoints. It's not necessarily like external like attractiveness, because your personality could be like
Definitely, yeah.
something attractive as well, you know. So I feel like personality wise, definitely being attractive matters. You know, you can't
No.
be
Nice.
a
For me, like you know, like how people are like, oh, personality over looks, and I feel like that's definitely really true because you can be really like attractive, but like
On a
so
personal level,
Yeah, legit
definitely
talking to a
not.
wall.
But if you're looking at like in life, will it affect you? Like, will being attractive help
Yeah.
you? Definitely, yes.
yeah.
It will matter. Like, sadly,
Which
it
is like
does.
sad.
It's
It's like
kind of the
fact
same
of
as pretty privilege.
The fact of the matter. It's the truth. It's the truth. It's the sad truth, honestly.
Yeah.
But it
Because-
does.
Just being more attractive really helps you. Like it gets you over some like hurdles easier.
Yeah, I feel like people will be more willing to talk to you if you're attractive.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I when I moved schools, so not really me, but I've heard from people when they moved schools, the more attractive you are, the more willing people are to talk to you, socialize with you.
That is true.
Yeah,
like-
because
you know the new hot kid gets more attention than just the new
Yeah,
kid.
exactly. And
We've
then
not
like the
got to
kid
the new
who
hot kid in ages. So
Yeah, our
like,
school hasn't got that.
he looks
energy.
normal,
Nah.
like someone who looks normal, but like might have a secretly like the best
Yeah.
personality. It's like not gonna, not at least not for a while. No one's gonna find out. That's the problem.
yeah,
Look.
it's true.
To answer the question, being attractive shouldn't matter, but
But it's
at the end of the day, it does a little bit. Maybe it won't define your entire self-worth, but then again, it is the first thing that people see in you, so a little bit it does matter.
Yeah.
The final question that we have today is, do people spend too much time and money on beauty?
100%.
definitely.
My mom, right? She recently went shopping. Oh my god. Legit, she's spending like 600 on makeup. And like, it's 600 seems like a lot.
Dude,
like, I mean,
no,
you
no,
buy a
no.
lot of
600
That's
on
like
makeup
normal
is
for
not
makeup.
as normal.
It was
Makeup
two
is so
items.
expensive.
It was 2 items,
Yeah,
you know?
makeup like If you want to
That
get
is
good
normal though,
makeup, it's normal.
unfortunately.
It shouldn't be. Like, it's one eye
I know it
piece
shouldn't be
and
exactly.
one
Guys,
concealer.
the
And she's
point
wondering, I'm
here
like,
is
what?
that like companies like this, like capitalism, it thrives off our insecurities. Like the reason that makeup is so expensive is because people know that regardless, you want the
You're
good
gonna buy
thing. Like you want to look good
Yeah.
and you want it to not affect your skin. So you're gonna pay that much. So they can afford to like put the price so high, you know? And 600
It is
Andre,
price-
sadly, not like
Cons,
decent.
demand and supply,
Yeah.
more demand, more price.
Yeah, economics.
Price inelastic.
Exactly.
No, actually, yeah. I think makeup is actually price inelastic because, like, even if it
Yeah.
goes high, people are still gonna want it.
Because
But it's
sometimes you just get
300 for an
used to
eye
using
cream,
those
like,
products.
why?
But yeah,
I
that's
can
why
legit
I
just
think
paint
we're
it
forced
over
to
in,
spend
like,
a lot of money.
same thing. And it's always
Yeah,
these
'cause, like-
creams that are like treatment cream, like 24 hours magic go
Oh,
away.
the 24
whatever.
hour magic, yeah.
Magic
They
go
always
away.
use these like keywords to get you to buy it. When
What
in
you
reality, it shouldn't
like-
take 24 hours to get rid of your whatever
Yeah.
is on your face, you know.
In order to not spend that much money on makeup and like beauty, I think is do your research on the products you're using, makeup or skincare. Do your research, make sure what you're using will actually be beneficial and you're not just throwing
Yeah.
money at something that's just like a marketing tactic.
Yeah. Because unfortunately that is a big thing in like the beauty and like skincare routine is false, not really false advertising, but
A lot
more
of it
so
is like maybe it'll do 20% of the work that it's promising.
yeah,
basing off like people's insecurities, and they just say it's gonna work.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like,
definitely.
doesn't really.
And also with the advertisements, they're targeted at you with like these super beautiful people. That's why
Oh,
I said
yeah.
really, like it's pretty people and like they become associated with these products. So like if you want to look like this person, this exact product.
Yeah.
And then because of that, they're able to like if like a celebrity came out with a beauty product that's the same as this one could be like 2 times more expensive just for the name.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
the Kylie skincare thing,
Kylie,
you know?
it's like the same thing. Like
Ooh, yeah.
why?
You're literally just buying her brand essentially. It's not exactly
If
the
you slap,
quality
if
of
they
the
like
product.
celebrities slap their name on anything, their followers, which is power, which is their power, you know?
Yeah.
Like, if they're able to slap their name on like any product, people are like, oh, because they seem to use it, you know, I'll buy it. But in reality, I'm
They
pretty sure
don't. Most of the times they don't.
That's kind of off topic.
that
with,
doesn't
like,
apply to Miss Rihanna because Fenty.
Fenty
you know,
good.
That's
Yeah.
kind of off.
That's kind of
It's
off
kinda
topic, but
off-topic,
like
but,
it's
like, I
relevant.
see-
Like the reason that you tend
Yeah.
to spend a lot of money is because there's a lot of ways to manipulate that because it's an insecurity, you know? That's something that like it's a deep rooted fear that you have, so it's easily exploited by companies. But yeah, we definitely spend too much time criticizing ourselves and therefore like spending so much money on it to try to fix ourselves, quote unquote fix, you know? But that's just because that's so like ingrained in our systems, like in society. Like the beauty standards that exist are so prominent and like it affects everyone, you know? Like you can't escape it. It'll get to you at some point. And if it hasn't, then if it didn't, then you're a very lucky person. And yeah.
Yeah.
There's some of these makeup things also that's supposed to cover things that like you're born with and like it's like kind of just gonna be there. It's like part of you, so you shouldn't try to cover it up. Like I think freckles also, like freckles, a lot of people spend a lot of money to cover freckles up when they're like part of like you're born with it. So just
Yeah.
Yeah, and now like freckles have become a trend. So again, beauty standards change so often. It's
are
not
people
even
like
worth
painting
it.
freckles on their face? Like oh my god.
Yeah, so it's not
Yeah.
even
So
worth it to cover your insecurities up because I feel like beauty standards always come to a full cycle where one day your insecurities will become the trend.
moral of this story is at the end of the day, beauty standards are gonna change. They're ever changing. You should not be
Yeah.
giving into them. You should not
Use
like
this
it's
kind of
easy to say it, right?
catch up.
Obviously it's very different in practice, but try to not let yourself get washed away in that wave of like different standards that come and go every 6 months. Try to be yourself as best as possible. So this has been the first episode of Overthink With Us. We hope you've enjoyed it, and try to tune in to the next episode where we'll be taking questions. I'm trying to give some advice, but then again, we are.
Yeah.
The disclaimer is that we're not professionals. We're just kids.
Yeah.
We're also going through some of these stuff.
Yeah, we're also going
definitely.
through some of this stuff. So take what we say with a grain of salt. We're not professionals. We're just sharing our opinions. But
Yep.
we hope you've enjoyed listening to this episode, and
We only have
come
two
back to us.
episodes.
It's a limited podcast. Yeah. Thank you for listening.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for watching this week's episode. Be sure to check out our Instagram page interact_TISKL for more information about our next episode release.